let's move on to the second part of visual styling. So we've looked at Ellie and what we do if a client has a large space between their eyelashes and their eyebrows. And then if we flip it, we look at someone that doesn't have a huge amount of space. So I have used Ian as an example. So obviously Ian's not necessarily one of my clients that has eyelash extensions. Not obviously actually, because we do have some guys that come in for eyelash extensions, but this was my children's dad, is my children's dad. I'm waffling, let me move on. And he was kind enough to let me model specifically for this manual, because he does have a small amount of space. He's got quite deep set eyes and a very prominent brow bone. So the top of his eyes actually sit quite close to the brow bone where the brow sits. So as an example, let's say we had a client walk in and they have got very small space like Ian has here, but their natural eyelashes are very long, and they come in, they're like, I've got really long naturals, I want really long extensions, can I have a 13 or a 14 in length? I mean, some clients will actually come in and ask for a specific length, and other clients will just say, I just like them long and full. If a client came in that had that small space between their eye and their brows, and we gave them really long eyelash extensions, those lash extensions are going to be tickling the eyebrows. It is not going to complement your work. So you need to understand, big space can handle length, small space cannot handle length. So if we look at this picture of Ian and do the same as what we just did with Ellie, what length do you think Ian's eyelash extensions are? Have a look at the picture, see what you think. To be honest, when I'm teaching this, my students will tend to say they look similar to the length that Ellie had. However, they're not at all, even though they do look similar. Ian is wearing a 7, 8, and a 9. So 9 maximum, or did I got to a 10? Let me just see what I've put in here. Yeah, 10. So an 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, and a 10. Whereas Ellie went up to a 13. God, that was years ago I did these. But his lashes with a 10mm extension on don't look too dissimilar in length to Ellie's with a 13. And that is purely because of the spacing. If Ian had a larger space, the eyelashes would look shorter. But because he doesn't, they can almost tend to look a little bit longer. So Ian's natural lashes are really small. So, I mean, you can see in that bottom picture. So the bottom picture is Ian's eyes as well. So he's got a C curl in eyelash extensions, which give a tiny bit of lift, but his naturals are poking out the bottom there. You can see them just at the edge, very blonde, teeny weeny little naturals. I say teeny weeny, they're very long, but you can see the teeny weeny tips sticking out. So his naturals are really long, they're really fair, and they're super straight. So they literally point downwards. So firstly, small space, can't handle length. Second point to note with Ian's eyelash extensions, which is really important to note within eyelash extensions too, that he has super straight lashes. So I, for example, have quite curly naturals. So if you put a C curl on me, they sit higher up, almost like a CC curl, because my natural lashes have a bit of a curl. Whereas on Ian, where his natural lashes are so straight, you put a C curl on him and they only curl up a tiny bit. So they almost look more like a B curl. So it's also important to know if a client has straight naturals, you're going to need to give them a bit more curl. Or if a client has super curly naturals, you're going to want to relax that curl slightly. So we always want to kind of balance the client's natural features. So with Ian, yes, he's got super long eyelashes. Yes, he can hold super long eyelash extensions, but it would look ridiculous because he just does not have the space for them. So this is where if a client comes in and they don't have too much spacing between their eyebrows, you need to explain to them, actually, we can't go too long in length because the eyelash extensions will kind of sit too close to your eyebrows. However, let's do your set today. And if you feel like you'd like to go a bit longer in your infill, then we could absolutely do that. So that covers visual styling. In the next video, we are going to look at face shape and how face shape works when we style the natural eyelashes with eyelash extensions.